Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today. Smell that? Smells like human NPCs entering a wasteland.
I can almost taste it.
Yeah, I mean, we're right there. We're knocking on the door of the Wastelanders expansion. For those who don't know, these are the release times for Wastelanders. For me personally, I'm getting up bright and early in the morning. One of my favorite things ever, just kidding. But anyway, we're right there with the Wastelanders expansion. So in today's video, I wanted to properly prepare all of you, whether you've been on the hype train with me or you're just hopping in new. This is a good time to just round up the basic information you need to know before playing Wastelanders. So hopefully you'll find this helpful. This is more so geared towards newer players who are hopping in and know nothing about the Wastelanders expansion. But for those of you who have been paying attention, this is a brief roundup before we dive into the real thing and find out if this is a framework worth believing in. Also, I want to make it really clear we're not spoiling anything in today's video too. There is a lot of Wastelanders spoilers out there through achievements and trophies and Reddit threads and whatnot. We're staying away from all of that. This is just your basic information. You're safe here. So Wastelanders is set 1 year after the main story of Fallout 76, and the Wastelanders who had originally fled the Scorched Plague are now returning to Appalachia. The update is entirely free, so if you are a owner of Fallout 76, you can just hop on and download this. If you are on PC and you own Fallout 76 on Bethesda.net, please do link your Steam account because you will be able to get a copy on Steam for free, which is going to be very, very important down the line. And do keep in mind that at the same time that Wastelanders does launch, Fallout 76 will be permanently available on Steam for you to purchase. As I mentioned, it does add new trophies and achievements. This was a very common question I was getting over this past weekend. I will show some of them, but none of them spoil the story. You can see there are things like completing a quest line, completing a companion quest line, and becoming allies with Foundation, which is a location we'll get into down the line. So it's just general completionist activities. So what does Wastelanders do? It brings a wide range of highly requested features such as human NPCs and dialogue options, things that made Fallout crazy, I know, back into 76. It also introduces a new main story on top of the pre-existing Fallout 76 campaign. Now, there also are some updates coming to that old Fallout 76 story to include the human NPCs. One example brought to people's attention through IGN is when you're at the Morgantown airport and you do clear all of the Scorched out of there, that a person will move in there saying that this is where they feel their brother died and now they want to live there too. It doesn't really overhaul the quest lines, but it does add a little bit of flavor to the world and life, which I think will help new players coming in. Now, these Wastelanders are not just stumbling in because they feel like it's safe now. There is a rumored treasure that is pulling two factions in, those being the Raiders and the Settlers, to find out where said treasure is. And of course, as the MC, you are at the center of all of this. So each faction, the Raiders and Settlers, will have their own quest line and choices that you can make throughout the quest that can impact this brand new reputation meter. Choices are handled in brand new instance locations. This is very popular for online games that want to make sure that you have stories with consequences. Now, we'll see just how much the consequences play when it comes to the impact of your relationship with these factions, because Ferret Baldwin of Bethesda Game Studios said that you're never really fully locked into one side or another, and that daily quests can help you get that reputation up with a faction you decide against. So essentially, you can bother one faction, but really all the choice does is increase your reputation with the other. So you can just be best friends with both by the end of the game. And I found this decision strange by Bethesda because I feel it could just be a good reason to build a brand new character and hop back into Fallout 76, just like many of us have done with Fallout games in the past. You want to see how other permutations of stories play out, and that's really not an ideal way to go about here. Now, we mentioned becoming allies with the people of Foundation. Foundation is the home to the Settlers, and Crater is the home to the Raiders. You'll be spending a lot of time at both these places acquiring new quests, meeting people, and so on and so forth. What's interesting about Crater is it was built in the Valiant 1 space station, so they took this pre-existing location in Fallout 76 and transformed it into an entire town. So this was a really cool way to see the wasteland develop, and hopefully a sign of things to come. More importantly is your murder weapons. What are you going to be using to take out some of the mutants and things that are going to be bugging you in the Wasteland? Well, I went on the Fallout wiki because they just have a general roundup of everything new coming to Wastelanders, and we have a new family of Gauss weapons between the pistol, shotgun, and minigun. This will be familiar to those of you who used the Gauss rifle in prior Fallout games. There's a plasma caster, a bow and arrow finally, a compound bow, dynamite's coming in, a gauntlet, which is essentially a saw blade attached to a mechanical arm that you will be using to slice your opponents up. And then there's a cattle prod. When it comes to armor and clothing, there's a brand new black vest and slacks, T65 power armor, Chinese stealth armor, which will be familiar for those of you who played the Operation Anchorage DLC. Secret Service armor is also coming in. There seems to be a big emphasis on that in this storyline, and a veteran outfit, which we'll get to down the line. But it's not just about protecting yourself and attacking the same old mutants and baddies. You have new mutants such as the Wendigo Colossus and returning mutants such as floaters to spice up combat in the Wasteland. The Wendigo Colossus actually has a variety of abilities to make it a little more interesting to battle against. It's not just going to be taking these big swings at you. It has an ability to terrify you, which will send you running away, and you can't attack for a set period of time. Combine that with the ability to call in Wendigo spawns, and this will be a formidable foe compared to most you encounter in the Wasteland. But don't worry, it's not just mutants that you'll be battling against. There's also new raiders that'll be filling out some of the older locations. And not just the raiders that will be allying with or going against in the storyline. These are called the Blood Eagles, and they're this universally bad raider faction that will just attack you on sight. We did see them during the Bethesda Game Days panel at PAX East. And fret not, you will not have to take these enemies on by yourself, because Bethesda did confirm that companions are also coming in to the Fallout 76 Wastelanders expansion, giving you 2 major allies and 3 lighter allies. That's the word they're using, not companions, but allies. So you'll be able to acquire a total of 5 companions. Only 1 can be at your camp at a time. They will protect your camp while they are there, and also you'll be able to get daily quests from them, so you'll have that continuous interaction. I've heard some really cool things about the major allies with this expansion. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but it's something worth looking forward to. Now, I mentioned all those new weapons and armor earlier. How are you going to acquire the plans to craft them and get the best version of them possible? You're going to have to acquire a new currency called gold bullions, and these will be tied to the daily quests as well inside Wastelanders. Now, some have wondered, why didn't they go with caps, the predetermined currency in the Fallout universe? Obviously, we don't want them using atoms because we don't want to pay real money for gameplay stuff. So why do we have to use these gold bullions to get new plans? And I have to refer to a comment I got on a previous Fallout update video I posted over the weekend that really just summed it up, that a lot of people who are still playing 76 have tons and tons and tons and tons of caps already. Essentially, it would eliminate any of the progression that you would have in the end game of Fallout 76 Wastelanders, where if you cared enough to get these plans and continue to craft items, that you could just buy them with the caps almost immediately. Furthermore, it incentivizes you to invest in the reputation system, because the higher your reputation goes, the better access you have to various plans with respective factions. So I do understand the inclusion of a new currency, although I hope they don't continue to do this, and this is just a plan for the future with new add-ons that gold bullions will be the de facto currency for those types of additions. Now, you don't have to pay for everything, because the veteran outfit reward is also coming in. So if you've played Fallout 76 at any time since its launch, when you log in during Wastelanders within that next coming month, at some point, a crafting recipe for this veteran outfit will be added to your inventory for you to make, to just show, hey, I've been a part of things since before Wastelanders. I think this is a bit of posturing by Bethesda to say, like, we anticipate this to revitalize our player base, get more people involved, and it'll be cool for players if Bethesda bounce back down the line to say, hey, I was there during the tough times. Now, what about after Wastelanders? What are Bethesda's plans? Well, they have yet to release a roadmap. The only indication they've given us is that they want to take something from Elder Scrolls Online and implement it into Fallout 76. Elder Scrolls Online had an update called 1 Tamriel, and what it did was get rid of regions and zones that would define the level, and essentially you couldn't play together unless you and your friends were at roughly the same levels. Now what happens is if I go into an area and I'm level 5, enemies are level 5. But if my level 55 friend is there, they will be level 55. So it allows you to play together with friends no matter what point you're at in the game, which I think is a good quality of life update after it's been a couple of years of people grinding away in this game, and now they're expecting new players to come in. When will that happen? With everything happening in the world, it's hard to tell what their roadmap will be and if they'll actually release one. It is coming at a tough time for them, and of course, all of us here, we're all impacted in some way or another. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is everything that you need to know about Fallout 76's Wastelanders before you dive in. I hope you found this video helpful, informative. Be sure to share it around for those of you who are looking for a friend to try out 76 Wastelanders with, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on launch day. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all of the patrons who just continue to support me. We've grown so much in this last couple of weeks, like 15 new patrons. It's wild despite what's happening. So thank you guys so much, and I'll talk with all of you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.